I was monitoring all of your brainwaves, and I could tell that you were all engaged, though most of you were scared out of your socks. Is there any possibility, one of the things that's interesting, is there any possibility that this technology could work while not actually touching your skin? Right? Like right now, you have to make a choice to put on a headset or a hat or something in your ears. Is it possible that the WEF could have it in the ceiling?
No, not for brainwave technology, but it is possible to disrupt brainwaves remotely. So if you've heard of Havana syndrome is a belief that people have suffered from. The leading theory is that it's targeted microwave activity of brains to disrupt brainwave activity. There's no proof of it yet, but there's at least a couple dozen cases where there isn't a good explanation for why the individual suffered from disruption of mental abilities. And there's certainly a lot of investment in trying to figure out whether you could target the brain remotely. It's much more difficult to figure out how you could read the brain remotely.
To Built on Faith Homestead or Leaving Egypt, depending on which video platform you are watching this on. My name is Justin. I live with my wife Melissa, and we have 3 kids, live in a tiny house, and we just do the best we can to serve the Lord and live a self-sustainable life. And we have a whole lot to do on both of those, a lot of work to do on both of those. Today's video, I want to talk about the crazy tinfoil hat thing, quite literally, and this is what I mean. You guys have ever seen the movies, right, or whatever, somebody's wearing a tinfoil hat, and they're like, I'm trying to keep the government from reading my brainwaves, right? Well, it turns out, according to this presentation from the World Economic Forum, there may be more truth to that than we ever knew, and we'll cover some of that in this video. But first, I want to talk about the snow, and I want to talk about the beauty that's here and the destructive power of snow. We have the Premier 1 netting type poultry netting for our chickens, and I want to show you kind of what happens to it in the wet snow, just in case you're thinking about buying it, so that you know. This is not a complaint. I've been very happy, been very satisfied with that netting, that poultry netting. It's worked wonderfully. But I do want to show you what can happen. So it's not a big deal at all, but you can tell that the netting is draped over with this wet snow. It is just barely below freezing, and it's a very wet snow. And I don't know if you can tell in the video, but it has stuck to everything, right? I mean, it just stuck to it because of the wet snow. Our power's even flickering a little bit today. So all I'll do is I'll go by and just knock the snow off of this netting, give it a good shake, try to get some of the weight. I mean, it's pretty iced up on there, truthfully, but we'll try to get some of the weight off of it. Of course, make sure your netting's off before you do this, or this will be a rather shocking experience, that's for sure. So we'll kind of show you what else is going on today. Here's our greenhouse. It did not take the destructive power of snow very well at all. It caved in. Not sure what happened exactly. I thought that the dome, I thought the snow would probably just roll off of it pretty good, but it did not. It's a very wet, heavy snow, very sticky snow, so I'm guessing it just stuck to it, and eventually the weight was just too much for those poles that was in the greenhouse. I'm hoping that this is salvageable, because this was an integral part to what we are trying to do. We were wanting to get some seed starts going for us, learn what we could do to potentially try to sell some seed starts in the spring, right? Sell some tomato plants and pepper plants and those kinds of things. However, it withstood the high winds. We got it all strapped down. All of that did fine. Thunderstorms, it's done good. But man, the snow, that wet, heavy snow, it got to it. So I'll have to get in there today and try to knock the snow off at least, so all that water doesn't melt down into the greenhouse, and then we'll have to figure something out from there. But hopefully it's salvageable for sure. This one stings a little bit. This one hurts. This one gets you a little frustrated. There's no doubt. But it is just part of it. It is part of living this lifestyle, man. Animals die, things break down, stuff gets tore up. It just is part of it, and you better get ready. Well, this is the inside of the greenhouse now that I got the snow off. And I don't know, I'm gonna have to think on this one. it broke most of my poles off. So, yeah, we'll just have to think about what we're gonna do here. For sure. Ponder it just a little bit. Well, it's not pretty, but it's back to standing up. Leftover PEX pipe from working on the tiny house, zip ties and wire. A couple of 1x6s just to get any extra slack out to hopefully keep that from happening again. A little bit of extra bracing along the way, and it's standing for now. It ain't pretty and it ain't perfect, but it's at least standing. Show you the outside here. It ain't gonna withstand nothing too crazy, but the wind's already blowing pretty good, and it's doing okay. Hopefully it will get us through the spring until we can do something better. Well, now that you know what wet heavy snow will do to Premier One fencing and what it will do to a greenhouse and how to rig that greenhouse back together in possibly the most hillbilly fashion possible, with nothing but leftover PEX pipe and zip ties and wire, right? But it's standing, it's good. Let's talk about the tinfoil hat wearing stuff. And if you don't know, I kind of get that saying from, you ever see like a movie or a video, movie, something like that, show where some guys, you know, got tinfoil, usually some hillbilly looking dude, tinfoil hat on his head, so the government can't read my brain, or the aliens can't read my brain, right? And it sounds ridiculous and it sounds crazy. And a lot of times whenever somebody has some sort of crazy idea, thought, whatever, then somebody would say something along the lines of, that's some tinfoil hat wearing stuff, right? So let's get into the tinfoil hat wearing stuff, because it seems like it may be more literal than ever really considered, or at least I ever really considered. Remember, this is coming from the WEF. This is not some website in the dark corners of the internet. This is coming from the WEF. They aren't trying to hide it, because they put it out publicly for you and I to see if we are willing to put in the time and effort to do so. Please go check it out. The link will be down below, along with our Rumble channel and a link to my wife's channel called Modest Mom. And those sorts of things will be down below in the description box. Please go check it out. Pretty please. Spend 30 minutes of your time. You watch 30-minute videos. You watch 30-minute TV shows, hour-long TV shows. Just please take 30 minutes of your time to watch this video that is put out by the WEF. Please, pretty please. Anyhow, let's talk about this video for just a minute. Let me show you the intro to this video.
This is how it's going to work. We're going to watch a short video. She's going to come on stage and talk. Make you see the future and understand a wonderful future where we can use brainwaves to fight crime, be more productive, and find love. Let's roll.
You're in the zone. Even you can't believe how productive you've been. Your memo is finished, your inbox is under control, and you're feeling sharper than you have in a decade. Sensing your joy, your playlist shifts to your favorite song, sending chills up your spine as the music begins to play. You glance at the program running in the background on your computer screen and notice a now familiar sight that appears whenever you're overloaded with pleasure. Your theta brainwave activity decreasing in the temporal regions of your brain. You mentally move the cursor to the left and scroll through your brain data over the past few hours. You can see your stress levels rising as the deadline to finish your memo approached, causing a peak in your beta brainwave activity right before an alert popped up, telling you to take a brain break. But what's that unusual change in your brain activity when you're asleep? It started earlier in the month. You send a text message to your doctor with a mental swipe of your cursor. Could you take a quick look at my brain data? Anything to worry about? Your mind starts to wander to the new colleague on your team, whom you know you shouldn't be daydreaming about, given the policy against intra-office romance. But you can't help fantasizing just a little. But then you start to worry that your boss will notice your amorous feelings when she checks your brain activity and shift your attention back to the present. You breathe a sigh of relief when the email she sends you later that day congratulates you on your brain metrics from the past quarter, which have earned you another performance bonus. You head home jamming to the music with your work-issued brain-sensing earbuds still in. When you arrive at work the next day, a somber cloud has fallen over the office. Along with emails, text messages, and GPS location data,
The government has subpoenaed employees' brainwave data from the past year. They have compelling evidence that one of your coworkers has committed massive wire fraud. Now, they're looking for his co-conspirators. You discover they are looking for synchronized brain activity between your coworker and the people he has been working with. While you know you're innocent of any crime, you've been secretly working with him on a new startup venture. Shaking, you remove your earbuds.
So you can tell they're talking about reading your brain wavelengths to in the workplace, right? She goes on to explain that this could be done through earbuds, through a tattoo on the back of your ear, even through a hat on your head, right? They can read your brain wavelengths, see where your kind of mind has drifted off to, see what kinds of things you've been thinking about, productivity, safety, all of these sort of things. This lady goes on to say, this is something we should all desire because it's more productive and it's safer and it's something we should all want, right? It's pretty terrifying stuff. It's not something I want. Not at all. Not even a little bit. But anyhow, it's something that we should all want. Once again, it can be done through lots of different ways. Just an earbud in your ear, right? Tattoo behind your ear maybe, even a hat on your head with some sort of band in it, something like that, where they can literally hack into your wavelengths, see what you've been thinking, see what you've been pondering on, those kinds of things. She does say it's harder to, right now, the technology is maybe not there to get into that very in-depth stuff, but lots of other stuff, facial recognition, PIN numbers, all kinds of stuff they can get into and understand from these simple earbuds and all that stuff. Now, what's even more interesting is she says this is not a technology that's coming, but this is a technology that's already here. We just need to make it better, right?
What do you think? Is it a future you're ready for? You may be surprised to learn that it's a future that has already arrived. Everything in that video that you just saw is based on technology that is already here today. Artificial intelligence has enabled advances in decoding brain activity in ways that we never before thought possible. You've heard a lot about AI over the past few years. Here at Davos, it's been the talk of the hour. But I want to talk about it in a different way, which is the ability to decode brainwave activity.
And some companies, in fact, are already using this, especially companies that, maybe have safety hazards if their employees were to get tired or whatever. They put these hats on them to where it's reading their wavelengths in their brain. And it's like, oh, they're tired, send them home, whatever. That's a terrifying thought process for me. She does at least go on to say, hey, this could be very good, but it could be very bad. I don't know about you. I don't want corporation. I don't want bosses. I don't want the government. I don't want the technical elite, if you will. I don't want them reading my brain, right? I don't want that at all. It's not something that I want even a little bit. However, it seems to be something this lady is at least pushing for and discussing at the World Economic Forum. Remember, please remember, I'm not just pulling this out of the thin air. I'm not just going to some, back hidden website somewheres where I had to click on 15 different links to get to this point. This is just the WEF, and it's put out publicly for you to see if you would just put in the work. Sorry, I had to pause the video. I heard something outside the greenhouse, and I was like, what in the world? And his wife and Luella out playing in the snow. I didn't even know they were out here. I guess I should have been reading their brain wavelengths, right? I should have had that tracker on my phone. Maybe I could have checked it out. Like I said, she admits, hey, this could be very dangerous. However, we think it should be utilized and all that good stuff. I don't know. What about you? You trust the fact that, big corporations, governments, the tech empires, do you think that they'll use this for good? I kind of find that hard to believe myself. To go in and to actually be able to hack your brain, to hack, it seems like that's the push, right? To hack your brain, hack your DNA, hack our food, hack the water. It just seems like that is the push. There's no doubt about that. And you say, Justin, that sounds crazy. I know. It sounds insane. It sounds like I ought to have on one of them tinfoil hats. Once again, by the WEF. This is not 15 links later on some, conversation, whatever. This is something easily findable, right? One of the reasons why I'm talking about this is because for me, the Bible teaches that there'll be this Antichrist-like individual that'll come, and he will try to emulate God, right, and try to claim he is God, and all these sort of things. And one of the Bible prophecies about Jesus that we know, one of the ways we know Jesus is and was and will be who Jesus said he is and was and will be, is that he would be able to understand our thoughts. He would know our thoughts, those sorts of things. And when Jesus was here during his earthly ministry, if you will, when he was walking physically on this earth, he was able to read thoughts, and he would answer questions based off what people were just thinking. And it seems to me like the more they push to try to read our brains, the more they are pushing towards trying to act like God, trying to take the place of God, so to know what you are thinking, to see whether or not you are being a good, by their standards, person. So, at the end of this little lecture, the moderator finally asks, hey, is this something like right now you have to have the earbud, you have to have the tattoo, you have to have the hat thing, something has to be touching you to read your brain wavelengths. Is there a way to do this without that? And the lady said, no, right now there has to be something touching you for this technology. However, to interrupt your brain wavelengths, you already heard of Havana syndrome, right? Most of you maybe have heard of this, where they think that it was basically weaponized against certain individuals, where they use some sort of magnetic type wave or something like that to give people all kinds of issues, right? This technology being out there should be something that kind of rattles you to your bones. I'm not trying to create fear, but I am trying to wake you up to the reality of the world that is around you, to let you understand how close we are to the return of Christ, and to help you understand that the Bible is true. And it seems like more and more we are headed that direction, towards the last of the last days, if you will. So my question to you is, what do you guys think? Do you guys think this is good stuff? You think this is good technology to be able to read your brain wavelengths? Is that something that excites you? You're really happy for it? You're going to be the first to sign up for it? You're going to be the first one to say, put me on, man. Let me have a hat. Let me have a tattoo back here. Let me have the earbuds. That way you know everything I'm thinking about. Is that for you? It's not for me. I'm out on that kind of stuff. We appreciate you guys watching. We will catch you on the next video.